In this video, I will tell you the biggest lies about diabetes that the media wants you to believe. I see this information widely spread that goes beyond lies. You know that I only speak based on science, so in this video I will tell you about 5 lies and I will talk about why it is a lie, so you can learn too, and be able to know when they are lying to you. And number 1, there is no forbidden food for diabetics. You saw that I put here in the title, this is one of the biggest lies, which is the main source, the main reason for comments here on the channel. You always put, banana is a forbidden fruit, honey is forbidden for diabetics, so I already make it clear here that this is a lie. There is no forbidden food for diabetics. What exists are foods that you will have to be more careful. For example, these examples that I said, banana, honey, cake, white bread, for example, why? Because they are foods that are rich in sugars, carbohydrates, which will increase your blood sugar, will be bad foods for diabetics, but it does not mean that they are forbidden. Can you see the difference between a food that is not advisable, that does not do well for blood sugar, and a forbidden food? Forbidden is the one you cannot do at all. These foods here you will have to pay more attention. You have to know, this food here is rich in sugars, and it will hinder my control of diabetes. But if you have moderation, for example, you can eat banana. You just will not eat the same amount of other foods that are better, like strawberries, for example. You have to have this notion, you have to know this. So when someone tells you, this food or another is forbidden, you already know it's a lie, and now you already understand these are foods that you have to be careful. And now, but my doctor said that this food was forbidden for me. Why did he say that then? Is he lying? No, it happens that in some situations, which are more frequent in diabetes, I will quote 2 here that are very frequent. The first, the diabetic has a greater chance of having kidney disease, has renal failure, has a problem with filtration. So, many times you will have to restrict foods that are rich in potassium. So, the doctor said I have to take care of the banana, the avocado, because they are foods rich in potassium. If you already have some damage in the kidneys, especially in more advanced stages of kidney disease, it may be that the doctor will forbid you to consume some foods that are rich in potassium, because having high levels of potassium in the blood is not a good thing, right? It has a risk of having arrhythmias, for example. So, you have to be careful with that. So, the first situation, if you have diabetes and a kidney disease, some foods you will have to avoid. And the second situation, which is also more frequent in diabetic patients, which is high levels of uric acid, called hyperuricemia, you also have to avoid some foods. I already talked about it. At the end of this video, I will give you this list, that then you will have to avoid if you have a high uric acid level, so you don't have those dropout crises and everything else, okay? So, in these 2 situations, there are others too. I will not extend myself much here because there are still 4 more lies that you need to know. But know that there is no forbidden food just because of diabetes. Number 2, control diabetes in 5 minutes. Great myth, great lie. You can only control diabetes with months. There are many false advertisements about diabetes, and now you already know. There is no way to control diabetes in a day. All you see out there is a lie. Some people who are malicious use the following way to deceive you. For example, control glucose in 2 hours. Control diabetes in 1 day. Did you see this difference? If it is reduce glucose, control glucose, it is even possible. Some strategies you can reduce glucose, but that doesn't mean you will control diabetes. And the diabetes control is day by day. I always say here on the channel, it's months. For example, the hemoglobin test is neglected. You can only have a control at least in 90 days for you to test really if what you are doing is working. Because the hemoglobin test is neglected, it ends up being the average of the last 90 days. So it's not in an hour, it's not 2 hours, 3 hours. You can even reduce glucose, but there is no way to control diabetes in 2 hours or in a day. Agreed? Look, there are 2 lies widely spread, and the third, there is no emotional diabetes. Many people end up saying, my diabetes is the emotional type. Now look at the differences too. Be careful in the interpretation. There are emotions. Anger. If you get nervous, will your blood sugar increase? It will. Have you noticed this when you went through a very bad situation? Do you realize, or did you realize that your blood sugar increased? Put it in the comments here if this happens to you, if the stress increases. Why? Because when you get stressed, you have a peak of cortisol, you have a peak of adrenaline, and these hormones, like cortisol, end up increasing the sugar in the blood. Just for you to be alert. You are stressed. The body wants you to stay awake. That you stay alert, so it increases the sugar in the blood. So yes, emotions interfere with diabetes control, but there is no emotional type diabetes that only through stress you will develop diabetes, but stress does worsen blood sugar levels. Who is already diabetic? So there is this difference. Now, do emotions interfere? Yes, they interfere, as you have already seen, right? Because it happens. Number 4, only obese people have diabetes. Big lie, big myth, because diabetes is a multifactorial disease. Then we have two types of diabetes, which are the most frequent. There are several types, but the most frequent ones are type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease, so it has no relation to obesity, a direct relation to obesity. Of course, obesity will improve your blood sugar control, but the cause is not obesity. It is an autoimmune cause. It is your own body that starts attacking the cells that produce insulin, beta cells of the pancreas. So if you don't have insulin production, blood sugar will increase, because who does it? It is who takes the blood sugar and puts it inside the cells, inside the muscles. It is insulin. So in type 1 diabetes, obesity is not one of the causes. In case of obesity, it worsens the control. And in type 2 diabetes, it is not just obesity. Many people comment, I am not obese, and I have diabetes. They told me that only obese people have it. Big myth. So there are several factors. What are these factors? Sedentarism, malnutrition, and also family history, genetics. Many times some people have genetics so strong that even if they are not obese, even so they have thin diabetics. But if they have strong genetics, there are people who have a very large predisposition to have insulin resistance, to have increased blood sugar levels. So it's a big myth. It's not just obese people who have diabetes, now you already know. And this one I also hear a lot, there is no reversion of diabetes. Big myth. Why? Because first, let's divide the types of diabetes. In type 1, which is that autoimmune that I just explained, there is no reversion, there is only treatment. This is a truth for type 1 diabetes. For type 2 diabetes, which is a multifactorial disease, in some cases I myself have seen several. You can reverse, improve the insulin resistance process, and return to normality. And there are three terms here. Cure, I already said that it does not exist. Why? Because cure is not the most appropriate expression for you to talk about diabetes. Cure looks like a disease that you caught. For example, an infection, I'm half antibiotic, I'm cured. Then yes, now diabetes, no. Why? Because you have to control it. So cure is not the most adequate expression. It can also give a false idea to some people. There is another term called diabetes remission. Why is it not the best? Because remission, it seems that the disease is there, but it is hidden. As is the case of some autoimmune diseases that have remission, such as hypothyroidism, arthrithomatoid also. The disease is in remission. It is there, but it is quiet. And reversion is the best term. Why? Because if you reverse what you were causing, improve your lifestyle, improve your diet, start exercising, there is a reversal of these habits. You can get control of sugar in the blood. Who says that is not me? It is the American Society of Diabetes, the ADA, which even has a criterion for reversion. What is this criterion? After the doctor suspended the medication, if after 3 months, remember I said that the control is over the months, if after 3 months the amygdala exam is neglected, is less than 6.5, without the use of medication. After the doctor is evaluated, very important, do not stop, do not remedy on your own, then yes, it is a criterion for the disease reversal. From 0 to 10, what grade do you give for this video? Write here in the comments. Also say, which of these myths, which of these lies have you already believed? What city are you talking about? From which place in the world do you belong? I'm from Porto Alegre. Now I'm going to leave a suggestion for you to watch. Since I talked about diabetes reversal, there is a video that I explain 12 tips to improve your blood sugar, for you to have better control of the glycated hemoglobin. Obviously do not replace the medical consultation, but it is an auxiliary material that will inform you about diabetes, free of any indication of medicine or sponsorship from the industry. In this video here you will find these tips.